Hello and welcome to the English Matura Express, the express to your English success. My name is Maria and today we're going to talk about the environment. Hello and that looks like... So there was no gun. We are a gun-free zone here. Hello and welcome back. My name is Maria and today's topic is talking about the environment and pollution in the English A-levels. I welcome you on this nice, rainy, snowy Wednesday night. So what's today's outlook? So what's the content of today's stream? First of all, you'll get an overview of the topic environment and pollution. Then we're going to talk about the global warming, then about the carbon footprint, moreover we're going to talk about threats to the environment, waste management, a green lifestyle, and at the end of our stream you are going to see a demonstration exam and I'm going to analyze it and yeah, that's it. So let's start with relevance and overview. The environment is, I think, a very relevant topic, especially in times of Greta Thunberg. If you don't know her, she's a very young climate activist. I suppose you have heard about her. If not, do some research because I think that's quite important to know. And maybe there will be in the exam, they will ask you something about her, and then it's good to know, yeah? The overview of this topic for the A-level exam is you have two chapters in your book. The one is energy and climate, and the other one is ruining our planet. So we have two chapters talking about this important topic. So what are some topics, some subtopics? We have like the global warming. We're going to talk about that today as well. Then we have threats to the environment, so acid rain, deforestation, and so on. The carbon footprint, today we're going to talk about what is it and how to reduce it, and has it something to do with my feet? And forms of energy. There it's especially important to know about the energy situation in Tyrol, and also alternative energies and so on. We won't talk about that today, but there is another stream about alternative energies. Have a look at them. It's one stream, I think, yeah, because last time we talked about alternative energy. So that's also a very up-to-date topic. Have a look at that as well. And how to save the planet. That's also dealt with within the two chapters. Good. But now let's start with causes and effects of global warming. So what is global warming? It's the gradual warming of global average temperature. So in good old English, it's getting warmer. So the Earth is getting warmer. Why? Because of the burning of fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are like coal. That's a mixture of coal and oil. No, it's coal, oil, and natural gas. And the burning of that produces carbon dioxide. And that increases greenhouse gases. So yeah, it's kind of a vicious circle. So what are the major causes of the global warming? That's one of the major causes of the global warming. I've just talked about that. But what are the effects? So one quite obvious one is climate change. Yeah, so it's getting warmer. Because of that, we have spreading of diseases. Yeah, because when it's warmer, diseases are more easily spread. So that's a problem. More floods, fires, forest fires like we have in Australia. And at the moment, and storms, etc. So we have some catastrophes because of that. And what can be done? Yeah, that's the question. A question that many people want to answer. First of all, pretty easy answer. Better insulation. Insulation of what? Insulation of buildings, so that you don't need as much energy. So that might be helpful because then you use less heat or less air conditioning, which also needs a lot of energy. and we just have to save energy. Yeah, so that's one thing we could do. And buy local products. Yeah, drive less and drive smart. So go by bike or walk. Take fewer flights, especially long, short distance flights, because it takes loads of energy to start. So to take off and to touch down, so that needs a lot of energy. And so if it's just a short distance flight, you need the energy, and then you're just like half an hour in the air. And yeah, so it's better to, if you have to take a flight, then of course long distance flights, I mean, that's fine. You can't really walk to the United States. I mean, you can, but you need lots of time for that. But if you go to, I don't know, Paris, take the train, not the plane. Good. So next topic is the carbon footprint. What is the carbon footprint? It has nothing to do with our actual feet, but it's just the name of it. So it allows us to calculate human pressure on our planet. So what we do with the planet, we as humans. So because whenever natural resources are used, for example, when we buy products, when we build something, when we pollute, verschmutzen, or when we throw away waste, so then our natural resources are used. And when there are more natural resources used, then the earth supplies, so we need more, and the earth hasn't got any left, then it's not sustainable. Then it's harmful for the environment, yeah? So yeah, that's the carbon footprint. I hope you understood that, yeah? So that's also the question, so how can we reduce our carbon footprint? How can we lead a more sustainable life? So that's the question, yeah? So it's again, how can we save energy? How can we not exploit Earth? So that's very interesting when talking about the carbon footprint. Good. Threats to the environment. There is a whole chapter in the book. It's in the chapter Ruining Our Planet. So first things first, of course, humans are ruining our planet. So I'm human, so we are ruining our planet, obviously. Then, of course, we have things like acid rain, which has really bad effects on lakes, streams, wetlands, etc. And obviously we have loads of water, so it's not bad that we have loads of water, but then of course acid rain, it's going to be problematic. Then of course the destruction of the rainforest, that's a big threat to our Earth and to our climate, and the ozone hole as well. Waste management. Waste management is also a very interesting topic. So what is waste? Waste, you can say Müll, yeah, so other words for that are rubbish, trash, garbage, litter. So it's just material that is no longer wanted, so useless, so unwanted or useless material. And of course there are different types of waste. Yeah, we have like household waste, commercial waste, industrial waste, hazardous waste, Sondermüll, radioactive waste, etc. And all this waste combined, especially like radioactive waste, pose a social, economic, and environmental danger. Yeah, so we have, of course, we need to get rid of all the waste, and that's of course a question. Okay, how and where to transport it to? Yeah, and that's why waste management is needed and is such a current topic, especially when you think about all the plastic we are using, producing, and so what to do with that. Yeah, so that's why we need a proper waste management. And first of all, of course, we need to be aware of it. We need to be aware of our waste, so we need to separate it. So that's something that the individual could do. Yeah, and I think that's also quite interesting. There is an article, maybe have a look at that. So here's the link to it. Plastic recycling is a myth. what really happens to our rubbish. So that's an article from The Guardian, so it's in the perspective of people from the UK, but I think that's quite interesting to, because yeah, we put it in the bin and that's it, but where, what happens to it? Yeah, where does it go? Just away? No, where? And that's quite interesting, so have a look at that. A green lifestyle, written in green. Good, so what is a green lifestyle? It has nothing to do with aliens. It's just about living an environmentally friendly life. And how can we do that? First of all, reduce, reuse, and recycle, the 3 R's. So reduce your the energy that you need. I mean, just turn off the lights when you leave a room, or don't buy that much clothes, for example. Reuse things, so use them again. Don't throw them away, and if you throw things away, then recycle them. Yeah? Yeah. So yeah, here we have some examples for a green lifestyle. So how, as I've already mentioned, turn off the lights, which sounds easy, but do we actually do that? So yeah, that's a good question. So turn off the lights, or buy energy efficient lighting in the first place. Then bike more and drive less, or take public transportation instead of your own car. Choose sustainable food, shop locally, seasonally, yeah, so don't always eat an avocado every day, 24/7. So that's also important if you want to have a green lifestyle. Shop wisely. Of course, you need to buy things, but think about that and try to reduce it. Educate, that's, I think, very important. So just be aware of the situation and see what's going on in the world. And of course, it's always easy to talk about, but more difficult to actually do something. It applies also for me. I also like to eat avocados, and I also like to drive with my car. But we have to keep in mind that it's better not to. Good. So now let's come to the last point of our of today's stream, the demonstration exam. So I have a demonstration exam for you. Let's just wait for it. Oh, there are loads of things on the desktop. I'm sorry for that. So here it is. So here's an demonstration exam. We actually did that in one of our streams. So if you Google Matura Express English Environment demonstration exam, then you can have a look at how we actually did that. But here I would just show you the exam and analyze the situations. Yeah. So again, we have, as always, an introduction. So that's always the same. Then task 1 is about the global warming. Yeah, we just talked about that. So who are we? What's our role? You are a concerned environmental scientist and have been invited to a radio show to inform the public about the impacts of global warming. So we talked about that, yeah? So give a brief introductory talk to your listeners about global warming. Talk about what causes global warming, yeah, the burning of fossil fuels and so on, the effects of global warming, flooding, forest fires, and so on. Measures to reduce global warming. So I think that's quite straightforward. So if you need more information, of course, I was just touching upon the topic. Just Google global warming. There is so much information on the internet, and of course in your school book as well. There's a whole chapter about the causes, about the effects, and what we can do to tackle this problem. Yeah, so have a look at that. And then the next topic is the carbon footprint. There you have a text, and the text, the title of the text is as it follows: how to reduce your carbon footprint. So there are some ideas how you can do that. So have a look at this if you want to have more information, and if you are still not sure how to reduce the carbon footprint, and or what we can do to do that. And yeah, and then there is the follow-up discussion, which is in general about the topic environment and pollution. So there you can ask some questions, but they can also ask you, so the examination board can also ask you some questions, so be prepared. But of course you are, when you go to the A-levels, I mean, you don't do that just for fun. So prepare yourself. I hope that I helped you today to get a little bit a better understanding of the topic environment and pollution. Of course, I've only touched upon the subtopics. There is much more to it, but if you are able to, to talk about these main things, and then of course it's always about what's the situation with you, what's the situation in your home country, what do you do? That's of course something you just have to know. Yeah. So think about that. Start thinking about the topics, also how they are connected to your life. Yeah, because that's often the case, that they just then ask you, so what do you do, and so on. So yeah, that's about it. Do we have any questions?
No.
No? Okay, good. So if you have any questions, please just leave us a comment, and we are happy to answer them for you. Good. Bye-bye, and see you soon.